T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Kush's Corner here on the Trap Talk Reptile Network, the coolest reptile network in the world. Tonight, I'm joined once again by the Python King himself, Mr. Ryan Young. Got a bunch of awesome stuff to discuss tonight, included, but not limited to, his recent trip where he found a Moluccan scrub python in the wild, talking all about that, as well as his clutch of Biak scrub pythons. Fingers crossed for a good hatch. Would be the first time that locality type of scrub python has been produced in the United States ever. So very excited about getting into that, which we will in a few minutes. But of course, at first, as always, USARK. So USARK is the organization that is fighting for our rights to keep our reptiles, to run our reptile businesses, and to live this lifestyle. Check out usark.org for everything you need to know about the organization. That website is where you can find alerts to new pieces of legislation introduced either at the national level or at local levels, as well as any updates on any pieces of legislation. usark.org is also where you can become a member of the organization. As a community, we have strength in numbers. The more people that are behind the cause, the better. And here we are. Thank you to everybody who is tuned in. I'm very excited about this episode tonight. If you are here on YouTube and you are not already, please subscribe here to the Trap Talk Reptile Network. A new podcast comes out every single day of the week from some of the best hosts in the game, talking about a wide variety of topics within the reptile world. So if you are a reptile podcast fan, you have come to the right place. But if you are more of an audio person like myself, we are on all the major audio streaming platforms, be that Spotify, Apple, or Google, etc. We're on them. A 5-star review, a follow would be much appreciated on whichever platform you listen on. And if you want to get the inside scoop as everything that I have going on, early access to animals, to new projects that I'm releasing, patreon.com/CushReptile is the place to go. 50% of all membership fee immediately becomes credit towards the acquisition of a new animal, and that credit never expires. So if you guys could check that out, that would be most appreciated. Without further ado, it's time to bring the guest of honor on tonight. I believe this is his 4th time on the show. Some call him the Python King. Some call him the GOAT. Some call him the King of Kings, the President of Pythons. Some call him Python Jesus. Some call him that. Here he is, Mr. Ryan Young, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my God, I'll never. That's quite the intro. I don't think anybody calls me any of that but you.
Oh, they do actually. I've heard all of those many times.
Man. That's all you.
It's definitely not all me. I can promise you that much.
Oh man. Well, that's a hard one to live up to.
I mean, shoot. Obviously, hey, I'm just gonna say, let's check back on Ryan in a few months, and that will definitely he'll live up to that name that I just gave him. So
I don't know. We'll see. A lot of pressure.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure, but I mean, the most species of python bred in captivity of anybody ever.
Yeah, still got a long ways to go to accomplish the other goals. So.
That's all I'm saying. But anyway, I had to do that to do the show. What's going on?
Oh man, not much. Just it was nice last week, and now it's back to kind of crappy weather. So it's been interesting.
What does that mean for you up there in damn near Canada?
Oh, it was like 50s and maybe low 60s during the day and 38, 40 at night.
That's now, or that
was last week, and now it's like 40 for the high and 30 for the low.
Oh my gosh, that's rough.
And then I was out. I was out mushroom hunting with my buddy earlier today, and it was snowing up in the mountains. So.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we had a cool down to like 78 to 82 here
Oh
during the
man,
day. Cool down.
that's
So
crazy.
I think we had a couple of days that broke 90 uh, in March, which is very, very hot. But yeah, man, I couldn't imagine. That sounds rough.
Well, it's been tough to acclimate back to that after getting used to being hot. So.
Yeah. So how long were you guys over there in total?
I think the whole trip was 15 days or something like that.
Okay. Okay.
Something
That's
to that
kind of
effect.
it's a little short for a Ryan Young trip, huh?
I mean, I try to go for as long as I possibly can. Getting there is the crappy part. Getting there and getting home. So it's the longer you're there, the better.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I can only imagine. I mean, how long was the trek either direction?
Well, just to get to Jakarta is like 28 hours or something, and then you're
Over
looking at
how many
another.
flights?
That was what, Spokane to LA, LA to Taipei, Taipei to Jakarta. So, and then there was another, a flight 24 hours later to Ambon,
Okay.
and then we stayed there for a couple days, and then flew to Aru.
From Ambon to Aru?
Yeah.
Okay. And like what kind of planes are you guys taking on those like island to island flights?
The Ambon to Aru was just a little puddle jumper prop plane.
Mm,
I don't know, maybe 50 people, 60 people on it, kind of
okay.
a thing. And the airports are funny. They're like these little walk in, walk up, nothing like an airport use in the
No
U.S.
TSA in Indonesia.
I mean, they have their version of it, but it's like there's no real terminal. It's just kind of one room,
Yeah,
and there's like a incoming and outgoing room in essence.
that's funny.
It's you walk to the airplanes and walk back.
So kind of like a bus stop, but just
Yeah,
for planes.
pretty much.
Not bad. Not bad. Yeah, I feel like I don't know, for me and probably for a lot of people, that whole like getting over there seems to be probably the thing that most people would be like hesitant about with a trip like that.
Yeah, I mean the flights. I think the long flight was L.A. to Taipei, and it was something like 13, 14 hours. So, you just got to hunker down and let your mind wander and try to sleep as much as you can and get through it.
Instead of counting sheep, do you count all the python species you've bred?
Oh man, I try to just zone out and try to just watch movies or fall asleep or whatever I can do.
Yeah, no, I get that. Oh man. So yeah, I mean, this trip, I guess, considering where you guys went, you definitely didn't have a wide range of target species, correct?
No, we basically had four. We wanted to find clastos, aru scrubs, Bacari, the black tree monitor, and Viridis chondros. So those were the main targets. And then, I mean, I like seeing everything, so it would have been cool seeing a big sailfin lizard on Ambon and stuff like that. But
Yeah,
it,
for sure.
and I like the geckos and all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah,
there wasn't as many species as like the closer you get to mainland New Guinea, so to speak.
sure. Okay. And then I guess so. You guys started in Ambon, correct?
Yeah, you have to fly to Ambon to fly to Aru,
Mhm.
and so I was like, oh, if we're going through Ambon, then you know, let's take a couple days and try to get a class to Lepus. So
Okay, so the trip started kind of like, all right, we're gonna do an Aru trip, and
yeah, the
then
trip was supposed to just be Aru,
oh,
and then I was like, well, if we have to stop in Ambon, is there? I mean, I was like, is there anything stopping us from staying a few days in Ambon?
for real.
And then after we did some, the owner of the reptile farm, we went with him and some friends of his and his kids, and he was the one who set a lot of the stuff up, and he said that we should go to Saram. There was better habitat on Saram, and
Okay.
easier to get to. So once we flew to Ambon, we instantly went to the ferry and took a
Mm,
ferry over to Ceram, and that's where we stayed for the 2 nights.
okay. So why is that there's more habitat on Ceram than Ambon? Is it a development
Ambon's a
thing?
little island, and Ambon was like really one of the very first inhabited, like where you had a lot of trade in,
Okay.
quasi close to New Guinea. Ambon is kind of the original jumping off point, so
Got
there's
it.
just more infrastructure there than in a lot of places.
Okay. Interesting.
I mean,
So
there was
then,
plenty of habitat. Like you could look on the satellite maps, and you could look when you were driving around. There's still plenty of habitat. But it just accessibility and where the people were comfortable in finding one. It seemed
okay.
like they were more comfortable trying to find one in Saram.
So then with that said, you know, importers have used either label for Moluccans in the past as a way to kind of like, add a little more value to them. Do you do you think that much collection happens on Ambon, or is it just you guys just like, all right, the better shot is to go over to Saram?
Um, I don't know. It'd be mostly speculation.
Yeah.
I would I would put my money on the vast majority of them come out of Saram, but
Okay.
that's not to say. Well, they all technically come out of Ambon because even the Saram ones would go to Ambon to leave. So
Sure.
I guess depending on how you know, what your thought is, but they would, and that being said, even if the majority of them were coming out of Saram, if one was found in Ambon by
Yeah.
somebody who,
Yeah.
who is legally allowed to collect it and everything, it's going to get thrown
Sure.
in the pot with the rest of them. So
Yeah. So then there would probably not be any real indication that there's much of a difference between the animals from one island to the next.
I mean, honestly, like I said, I wouldn't feel qualified commenting on that. I haven't seen anything personally to suggest there's much differences, but um, there's been some speculation that a lot of the original or a lot of the original clastos came out of Ambon, and the weird scale anomalies under the eyes, which is how they got their name Clastolepis, that seem like I've heard people suggest that's more common on Ambon than it is on Ceram. But again,
Yeah.
I don't know anybody who's actually over there really looking at that. So that's all speculation.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially with what you just said, the fact alone that these animals definitely don't get traced from one step to the next. I mean, how could
Yeah,
you
even
even?
if they do, the problem is the collectors aren't the ones that sell them to the distributors, and so there's so many middlemen along the way. It's just like, even if you thought you had good data on one animal, by the time it trains hands a few times, get mixed with other ones, it's
Yeah.
kind of, it's pretty. I wouldn't feel super confident in a lot of the stuff.
Has anybody actually like been able to take real field data of them out there to say one way or another on any of these? On any?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't know. I haven't seen anybody doing any research on Calastos in the wild, but that's
Yeah.
not to say somebody isn't doing it. I just have no idea.
Yeah. But I mean, I could imagine it being a very niche kind of item for any scientist to really take like an actual interest in, like this one python on this very remote Indonesian island where there's not a lot of biodiversity, relatively speaking. Otherwise, it's like, yeah, I don't know, would make
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. I mean, it's got neat. There's endemic parrots, and there's just not a ton. And there's probably a lot of geckos and stuff that are different. I just don't know. I'm not up
Yeah.
on all that. But the as far as pythons, there's just the one python as far as I've ever been able to discern.
Do you think it was always that way, or potentially there was other kind of more species diversity that's been outcompeted as far as snakes go, maybe even just in
Oh,
general?
I guess there is retics there now. I forgot about that. Those would be more than likely. Those are a human, a few 100-year introduction. Not,
Mm,
I don't think they occur there naturally.
okay. Yeah, it seems a little bit out of the way of retic land.
Yeah, there was a paper where they did genetic studies across the retic range, and the DNA on the ones from Ambon and Ceram came back as being like similar to Java, and which that makes sense for shipping movement, but not evolutionary.
Right. You think they would probably be most similar to like the Halmahera retic.
Yeah, and they could be. No, Halmas are way different. That's a whole.
But I'm saying like
Yeah.
retics that would be endemic to Ambon and Ceram might.
Yeah, you would think they would be more like that then.
Yeah.
And so it's a big genetic anomaly. But if you look at, human migrations and movements through that area, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And whether it was, in the last couple hundred years during the spice trade, whether they got introduced then or if it was even early humans moving through there. Retics make good food on long boat rides.
Sure.
You don't have to refrigerate them, and so it makes sense. It's pretty easy to think of how they got there.
Yeah, no, that does make a lot of sense. Are there other kind of proven examples from that region of species being introduced to new areas by humans and establishing?
There was a lot of wild pig damage, in areas that we saw.
Mm.
So, those, and there's probably, I imagine there's European rats and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But as far as reptiles go, do you know of any?
I'm not aware of any of the reptile stuff other than retics.
Sure. Okay. I mean, I've never been there, obviously, but it seems like from island to island, at least climate-wise, you're probably looking at a relatively similar kind of construct within reason, right?
Yeah, you couldn't, take the mountains, at least, Ceram was pretty mountainous. If you couldn't see the mountains and you were just in the rainforest, and you drop me on Aru just in the rainforest, or if you drop me on, Waigo just in the rainforest, it's all, I'm not a botanist enough to know where exactly I was.
Yeah.
So it'd be pretty hard pressed to tell.
Okay. Fair enough.
But yeah, like chondros I would think chondros would live there easily. They just don't have the wherewithal to have made it there like scrub pythons did.
Mm. Yeah. Okay. So then chondros, the furthest they go out west is like Kofiau, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Well, Mosul, I guess I would have to look at exactly which one's further west, but Mosul and Kofiau.
yeah. So scrubs made the migration far, far further than.
Oh yeah, there's places in the world where there's scrub pythons without chondros, but I don't believe there's any place where there's chondros and no scrubs.
Yeah, makes sense.
So I think it boils down to chondros probably aren't as seaworthy, probably not as able to adapt to long-term exposure to salt water, and as well as scrubs aren't as habitat dependent as chondros. They probably can move through less than ideal habitat better than a chondro can.
That would make sense.
So you probably have a situation where the scrubs can move around better and survive over water dispersal if they have to, where a chondro is not. There's very few places where a chondro would have had to swim to get there.
Yeah. Yeah, I could could imagine a little chondro trying to go from island to island, not working
Yeah,
out.
it'd be easy bait for a fish too, like a big fish could eat a chondro pretty easy.
Yeah, seriously. Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to think. I think you're right, but as far as the other little islands around Biak, like Numfor and all those islands, they all have scrubs too, right? We just don't.
We believe they should be there. They're, I don't believe there's anything on Numfor that isn't on Biak.
Yeah.
And all that. And Numfor and Biak and all the Pedido Islands and everything, they were probably one landmass. And that landmass was really close to mainland New Guinea once, during glacial maximums. So
Okay.
the chondros that got there didn't have to swim far.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, I wonder if we do have any scrubs that are from those other islands. They were always just called Biaks because I assume they would look the exact same.
Yeah, it's highly likely.
Yeah.
But you got to look at trade routes and stuff. And for whatever reason, the Biak scrubs don't seem to be brought in that much. And I've heard varying reasons for that. And it's hard to know which one is really the reason. So,
Feel like sharing any of those reasons?
Oh, I mean, I've heard like years and years ago, long time ago, I heard that um, they were held in a certain kind of reverence, and so
Okay.
the people didn't like to collect them. And then I've heard that you have a situation, since they're technically, amethystina, I guess. Um, there's only a certain amount of quota for amethystina, and if you have an established seller of amethystina on Sarong that sends you all the scrub pythons you could ever want, you just aren't, you're not looking to get more elsewhere because they can only ship out so many regardless. So
Sure.
that's another reason I've heard, and so it's
Okay.
hard to say what what's the full story, but it's
Yeah.
probably a combination of everything. If they're never
Sure.
asked for them, then they have no reason to send them.
It just, obviously the thing about the dynamic that has always been the most confusing is that that's where the majority, or I don't, maybe not the majority, but the largest volume of chondros are coming from. So
Yeah.
why is it the least for scrubs? you know?
Yeah, I think the explanation that makes the most sense to me is that they have they get enough of the scrubs for their quota from Sarong
Mm,
and the South, Maruki, that they just don't. There's no point in telling collectors on Biak to get you scrubs when you only have a quota of a certain amount of animals, and if you already have a business relationship with the other guys on
yeah.
those other places, then it's just, you don't want to tell somebody go get me one of something or three of something. They usually want to do a volume business, not.
Sure. So
So
then I
that would
guess
be,
just,
I would think that's probably the explanation that makes the most sense to me.
so then just to play devil's advocate on that, why wouldn't we see more Maruki chondros and less Biak if it followed a similar trend, which it meant not necessarily, but
I think it's because the chondros don't actually occur, that they're quite a ways from Maruki,
mhm,
and it's the same thing.
okay,
If you're they don't differentiate the green python species on the permit system, and so
sure.
if the collectors in Biak can give you 400 chondros, you don't need to go anywhere else. So it's
Yeah,
just
and true. And then yeah, I'm not trying to question you. I'm just like kind of
yeah, no, I mean
spitballing.
it's interesting to it's I always wonder how these things come to be, because some stuff
Yeah,
seems like, yeah, why couldn't you get a few scrubs from here, but it just
yeah.
you know
So
it's
then
always harder than it seems.
so then the scrubs are in fact coming from like around Maruki.
I'm assuming, but
Okay,
they could be.
because you never really know.
Yeah, again, you don't know. So I'm assuming they don't go too far. There's not, I'd have to look at what the infrastructure is like down there, but
I mean,
I'm
just
guessing.
considering the range, they're obviously there. Um, you know, when it comes to like what we're doing as far as calling things, whatever, I, as far as, what do you call a Maruki scrub in captivity? Do you, I think I'm going to know the answer, but like, would you feel like differentiating like a light tan, really no melanin, kind of like Maruki Southern from a bit of a darker one that you might think comes from a little bit further north?
Yeah, I mean, based on the stuff I've looked at, I kind of was like, I think there's like a savanna phase and a rainforest phase,
Mhm.
and the further north you get more the dense rainforest, and then probably similar to like jungle carpets and coastal carpets, where once you get into the rainforest, they get dark to
Yeah.
try to get more heat, and so it's probably has something to do with that. The ones that live on the more eucalypt scrub type habitat, probably don't need to be jet black, and the ones that live in the rainforest, it's probably advantageous to be darker, and
Yeah.
that's what you have. And then I'm sure there's areas where there's both, and you know they probably intermingle, and then there's nothing stopping one from living where the other one does.
Yeah. So when you had your southern, you produced southerns once or twice.
Twice.
When you had those clutches, did you hold on to any of them long enough to really see like much color change going on with them?
Yeah, I had some quite a bit, and most of them, The pair I bred seemed like it was kind of a mix. One was looked a little more rainforesty phase, and the other one looked more savanna phase.
Mhm.
But most of the babies that I produced all predominantly looked like the rainforest phase as far as what I saw. They got real dark,
Yeah.
and had the little orange bands and stuff. So, but
Yeah.
I didn't follow all of them and see what happened to all of them. But the ones I did have for a while and the ones I've seen pictures posted, they seemed like most of them were pretty dark.
Yeah. Okay. I know that Zach here, he's got one from both of us.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, I'd be curious because mine that I had that he got a baby from, I kept one. It was 4 males. I was like, all right, well, that fucking blows. But so I kept one of the males. That was the whole clutch, and then they started off, obviously very typical looking. The female was kind of like a darker southern, but like definitely not one that I would call a rainforest phase animal. No orange laterals, none of that, but like not a tan Maruki, so to speak. And the male was a fully patternless tan animal. So they hatched out with this like kind of really wacky pattern, which and like all the babies had the wacky pattern through and through. Much tighter, kind of like almost a little granity. And there were 2 babies that were like severely like disfigured out of the egg. They had it as well. So it was 100% on this, like what I would have to assume is a visual het patternless kind of appearance, or heterozygous form of the gene.
Unless your incubation caused it.
You think it would cause a pattern fluctuation?
Yeah, I think back in the day, some weird berm looking things hatched when people were like doing experiments on cooking them. I think
I mean, they were at
abnormalities with pattern from the difference of temperature.
They were at like 86 and a half.
I don't know. I remember back in the day, people used to equate a lot of abnormalities in looking and with the way they look based on fluctuating incubation or something. So.
Okay. Well, I guess
I mean, it could be a visual head thing. Who knows? I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm just presenting another potential option.
Sure. No, I'm not. I've never reproduced it, obviously, so I don't fucking know.
I haven't seen enough of the patternless, to normal to see if the heads have a look or not.
Yeah, I same. Because I've seen pairings of like almost patternless to normal, but not like this animal did not have one speck of pattern on its entire body, the male.
Yeah.
He was like a fully patternless. I've seen some like the rainforest phase animals that are called patternless, but you look at it and there's like a little bit of dorsal stripe and a little bit of side pattern, but like it's like 90% patternless, but not.
Yeah, like not a patternless. A lot of them have a lot of little subtle striping and stuff.
Yeah, 100%. So, but then those kind of throw a range of babies, at least from the couple of clutches that I've seen, of like the almost patternless to normal pattern, where this one was very uniform. They all had the same kind of look. So yeah, who knows? Man, I'm gonna try to figure out what the hell I wanted to actually say here. I know I had a point to this. Oh yes, there it is. So they were all born to what I would have thought was pretty normal Southern look. And then a couple of sheds in, they all started to show orange lateral bands.
Yeah.
And then give it 2 or 3 more sheds and they're gone.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that could have happened to the babies I sold. I thought they were getting dark, but maybe they ultimately lightened up.
Which I found interesting. I don't think I'd ever had a scrub kind of like develop that and lose it. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, I guess these might be sticking around. And then Paul Duran posted one of his holdbacks that really was showing it. And, his were from that same, I believe his adults from the same Dan Malari import from 2017 or
Yeah.
2016 with like all of those, like when he brought like 40, 50 babies over or something like that.
Yeah.
And his, I don't know whatever happened to those as far as the color went, but like the orange laterals were really pronounced. And then Yasser came into the comments kind of raining on everybody's parade, like, those will be gone, don't worry. And I was just like, I don't know, we'll see. And then mine disappeared, and I was like, oh shit, he was right. So
yeah, he produced a lot of Southerns, so he would have a pretty good idea.
Yeah. Lisa adds that she thinks that Brandon had that happen as well. And then Brian Fisher as well. So yeah, which is interesting. The more like rainforest phase ones that I produced kind of just maintained it. Where the more true southerns did not. So
yeah, I mean, like the northern type scrubs, they get real dark before turning orange. It's like they hatch kind of that brown color and then get really, really dark, and they look like they're going to be black, and then they start turning orange. So it's
and that's what I experienced with mine. Yeah, both of my holdbacks just shed, and the female in particular is just like crazy. I expect her to be nice. I didn't expect her to be quite as nice as she's turning out to be. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you've been the real champion of those animals, and I think they're still just slept on to such an extraordinary degree as far as.
Yeah, I mean, I like them a lot. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, I mean,
see how it goes. There's some spectacular. I've seen some just some orange ones that just blow your mind.
I can only imagine, 2 generations in, like 2 additional generations. There's going to be animals that are as orange as quote unquote Orange Island animals.
Yeah, I think they have more orange potential just because the way their color change goes from dark to light versus, kind of light to dark. So
yeah. No, those animals will definitely do the clasto thing, but not to such an extreme degree where like in between shed cycles they get darker and then they shed and then they're brighter again. Where I feel like the northerns don't really do that quite as much. They just kind of keep getting brighter, and kind of like Barnecks. Could be a northern versus southern thing. But got a couple chat questions here I want to hit. Lisa asked this one a little while ago. So in your experience, have you found that acclimating wild scrubs is harder than other wild pythons?
I would say acclimating Halmahera scrubs is and Biak scrubs is harder than acclimating other pythons, but Barnecks and Southerns and stuff like that, I've never had much issues.
Yeah.
But Halmas, I'm ashamed to admit how many Halmas I've probably lost trying to establish Halmas.
Hey man, that's Biaks with me. Never had my heart broken by a snake more than a Biak scrub.
Knock on wood, I'm only down 1 Biak. So.
Really? Like ever?
Yeah, 1 out of 6.
Oh so. Shoot, man! I might be able to put it on 2 hands.
Yeah, it's tough. They're tough. I think if I would have got Biaks years ago, I probably wouldn't. I think I've learned a lot over the years, and so I had a better. I think losing the Halmas helped me. I had tricks and plans to keep the Biaks going that I didn't have.
Sure.
15 years ago. So if I would have had Biaks back then, I probably wouldn't have done very well with them.
Makes
but in
sense.
case, like I had a couple that did fine, but overall,
yeah,
the ones that didn't want to do fine were a challenge.
Yeah, I feel like I got pretty lucky with my Halmaheras where I was able to get a decent amount of young animals, whether they were babies or like yearlings, as opposed to with the Biaks. But I will say, I'm over on baby Biaks, and I think I've had 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah, the one I lost was a baby.
Which was so strange because with every other scrub, if you and even with Halmaheras, it was like, oh, I have a baby. Perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. And with the Biaks, I'm like, Give me that 7 foot half dead looking one.
Yeah, no, the mine, I lost mine for a prolapse for all things. Like, was
I
eating
lost.
great, doing great, and prolapse. And
Yeah,
I
that
was like,
happened
are
to me
you
too.
kidding me?
This girl right here, who's my adult female, who her follicles were so big you could literally see them in the side of her fucking body, and she reabsorbed. So Ryan,
Well,
beat me.
I have to thank that snake for driving me to go berserk on mine.
Fucking believable.
When
But
I was visiting your house, my insane jealousy and determination made me go home with a new vigor and enthusiasm to breed those
I mean,
Biak
you
scrubs.
didn't even want to look at my baby Halmaheras or Arus. You're like, get those fucking snakes out of my face.
I wish I could say
Yeah,
I was a better human being, but I was jealous as fuck. I wanted to make some myself.
you were like, God damn it, I fucking hate these snakes. I'm like, I'm sorry, I
I
tried.
didn't hate them. I liked them too much. I was just like, God, man, I want to do that myself.
But she was by far the roughest Biak I ever got.
Yeah, the female I bred was the hardest. Well, I have one male that was a little harder than her, but she was the biggest one I got, and she was not the easiest snake. And just keeping her eating, man, I had to do every trick known to man. When I got home, and I'm like, I got to beat him to it. I was doing everything I could do to keep that snake eating.
So what you're saying is your success with the Biaks is because of me.
It is. It's totally because of you. I would have never paired that snake. I would have never. That is the smallest scrub. My Nada I bred was bigger than that Biak.
Fuck. How big is this snake?
It was 85 inches.
Okay. So that's a big Nada then.
Yeah, but I had a big, huge captive bred F1 Nada that was, overfed.
Got it.
But
okay, I was going to say, damn.
It was the smallest scrub I ever paired, and I was like, the only reason I did it was sheer pettiness. So, I was like, there's no way I gotta at least have a chance.
I mean, if you beat me at a class dose, I think it'll actually crash out.
Yeah, I don't know. You should beat me to that. But.
I should, but for fuck's sake, this is year 6 trying, and I have nothing to show for it. So,
well, I mean, look, there's been a lot of things I've tried for a long time, so eventually you'll get it.
I know I'm not going to give up on them. I can sleep at night knowing that it's not like I'm ever going to not try, and it should happen eventually. But fuck.
Yeah, I don't even know what I have, so you're better off than me.
That is true. I at least know what I have. It hasn't done me that much good yet, if I'm being honest. But I do know. I at least know that the male is the male and the female is the female. And
yeah, no, I don't even know that. So you're doing better than me.
Oh shit! And then let's see, what else is even on the board still between us? I forget who I was talking to. I may have been just having a little schizo moment with myself. But I think I went over who beat who to what.
Well, you beat me to most of them.
No, I think you're in the lead because you got.
I can't be in the lead. There's only 2. You bred Barnecks before me.
You got Nada, Southerns. Maybe we'll count Biaks in a couple months, and then Northerns.
Oh, okay. I guess maybe.
And then I got Barnecks, Halmaheras, and Arus on you.
Yeah, well, you got my white whale, so it's
Yeah,
you got the big trump card over me, so I'll forever envious.
So then all that's left on the board are the clastos, and then like keys, but you can't really count that as of yet. So I can still beat you.
Oh well, now you fucking issued a challenge. Now now you're gonna drive me to insanity.
If I beat you 5-4 like a buzzer beater with a key island clutch, like
now I'm gonna have to go to extraordinary measures to.
There's another one though that we always forget about when we talk about scrub pythons, that no matter what, I'm definitely not beating you too. So we might not even consider them in this discussion because I don't even have them.
Well, if it helps me, I'm considering them in a competitive manner.
Fuck. Okay, they're out. They're out now. I didn't even say what they were. So.
Oh shit.
let's see. There was more. Okay, so this actually be a cool conversation because this is something that we don't see eye to eye on, but you definitely know more than I do about it. Your take on Biaks, closer to Northerns or to Halmaheras?
They're not close to Halmaheras at all. They're, I mean, I guess what are we talking about? Behaviorally or actual relation?
Well, and then so
Behaviorally, they're somewhat Halma-like as far as they're just can be a pain in the ass.
yeah,
But relation, they're nothing. They're by far their closest relative is the northern scrub.
okay.
It's not even fucking close. It's not there.
Because for me, as somebody who has not done any science on the matter like you have, to me they're like the most similar scrubs. Like I mean you could,
The closest relative to Halma is Bismarck.
I mean I've never even seen a specimen in front of me, so I don't,
They
I'll
they're
defer to
fairly
you.
similar looking, and they're the closest. And they're Halmas and Bismarcks are very 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 old lineages, not closely related to anything. Basically, they're really far
But then
from
what's
each
your
other.
take on why they're the only two that have babies born with adult phenotype?
Well, our sample size with Biak is not that great. We have one clutch to look at,
One
and
clutch, but then a decent amount of imported babies that just based on their size alone, they can't be more than a few months old.
yeah, I mean it's hard to say, but you know that could be a lot of things. The northerns, even like northern mainland scrubs, are not red. Like that bright
Yeah,
red baby like the southern stuff. They're more kind of a chocolatey. I
yeah,
mean, I guess if you look at them just right and use a lot of flash on your camera, they kind of look a little bit red. But when you have them in your
yeah,
hand, they're just a little brown snake.
yeah.
So
But then,
I don't know what a Biok. I've saw pictures of Biox babies after they shed, but I don't remember seeing them like right when they hatched.
yeah, good point. I mean, I can never say the only evidence we would have ever been able to have would have been any like clutch picks from Lawrence, and I'm not sure if
Yeah, I don't remember any pics of them before they hatched, at least that I was privy of seeing.
because there were a number of pictures post shed, but I'm not sure if there was ever
Yeah,
that like, glossy, fresh baby with an egg tooth from his clutch. Um,
yeah, because even like the northern babies, when they hatch, they're just brown, like
yeah,
no hint of red. But when they have their first shed, it's
right.
like, oh, I can kind of see. Like I said, you blow it up with a camera flash, and it's like, oh, I guess they're you know brown with a hint of red. And
Yeah.
again, I don't know if the Biocs are like that.
Well,
Um,
we'll
the
find out
Bioc
soon.
babies that Lawrence used to talk about, the blue lips and stuff, and
Mhm.
I've seen that on northern babies a lot.
Oh,
So,
you have?
oh yeah,
Oh, okay, cool. I don't think I have, so that's interesting.
yeah. So
Trying to think because I've definitely seen that on. None of my Biocs now have the blue. I think I've had one or two, and I've also had a couple of them get like yellow, like highlighter yellow lips.
yeah, every Bioc I've seen has like the yellow around the
Yeah,
tongue opening.
yeah. But blue has been limited.
Yeah, I don't think it lasts. Even like on the northerns, it was like, oh,
Uh,
it lasted a couple sheds and then it kind of
oh,
comes and
okay,
goes. And so I think the
got
Bioc's
it.
probably the same way.
Okay,
Probably
yeah,
like the orange bars, it'll be there for a minute and then
yeah,
see you later.
true. Okay, yeah. Uh, you know, I've always like before talking to you about them at all. I always just thought, just from my experience, that Biocs and Halmas were super similar. Um, even like from a growth rate standpoint too, from raising them. Like I have kind of an interesting little sample size of the three Halmahera babies I hatched last year, raising them next to Arus and Barnecks, and they're growing well, but they're just growing slower than the other two. Like it's just
Yeah.
it's noticeable at this point. Like they're taking like medium mice maybe now when like the Arus are like on jumbo mice. Same
Yeah, I
feeding
don't know.
cycle.
I don't raise mine. My northerns are probably smaller than most people would think they should be. I don't raise stuff super fast. So.
Yeah, but even just the speed aside, just that they're on the same schedule. Like I was doing the same thing for both of them.
Yeah.
Um, and I think, well, I've never, I guess, raised a Biak from a young age to an older age.
Yeah, the first Biak I got was pretty small, and
mm,
it grew fast like gangbusters.
yeah,
Because I thought it was a girl, I bought it as a girl. The guy that picked it up for me probed it as a girl. I probed it as a girl, and I stuck it with what I thought was a male, and it proceeded to try to mate that male and wrestle that male. And so I was like, oh well, I guess that was my first attempt last year, was
mm,
putting my biggest Biak together with my second biggest Biak together, and they were both boys. So I've bought
yep.
6 Biaks, every one of them but one I bought as a female, and they've all been male except for one. And the little one that died, I don't know. I probed it as a girl when I got it. So
Yeesh.
3 of them were sold to me as females and turned out to be males. So.
Oof, that's
And
rough.
that's me probing them. Like I got them, probed them myself, confirmed they were females, and then it's like they get to a certain size, you cycle them once in the snake room, and they all of a sudden start shedding hemipenes, and it's like they're boys all of a sudden. It's the weirdest thing.
Interesting. Yeah, I'd received a lot of missexed Halmaheras.
Yeah,
I
I have
think
too.
just totally coincidental.
I think a lot of scrubs in particular come in missexed because they maintain a lot of like stuck hemipene sheds, and so if you're
mm,
probing them and you're probing them gently, it's easy to make a male, feels like a female.
yeah.
And then when it has a good shed in captivity and gets all that gunk out of there, it's like, oh, now all of a sudden it's a boy.
Mm, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I think I paired a female with a female, and then accidentally, and then when I figured out that they were both females, I paired what ended up being another female with the first female. Found out that was not, in fact, a male, and then a female I'd been raising, the back third of her body never really filled out. And I
Yeah.
was always kind of questioning, like, big head, but thin back third. I was like, what the hell's going on? Probed it male, threw it with the male, locked up immediately. I'm just like,
Yep. Yeah.
what is happening? So,
Yeah. Even the northerns, when I got my first northern scrubs, I was like, are these all girls? Because even the boys, it's like they were probing to like 4 and 5, and the girls were probing to 2. And I was like, man, I wasn't convinced they were males. Like
really?
all the way up until I started putting them together, and then when I saw them breeding, I'm like, oh shit, they actually are males. But
Okay. Interesting.
they didn't seem to probe like the Barnecks and the Southerns.
Huh. So now that I think about it, I've never probed a Biak.
Yeah, I
So,
probed 6 of them, and I probed them all but one as girls. So
yeah,
and
I
they
mean,
turned and 4 of them turned out to be males. So
because even the Halmahera is like, to me at least, I haven't probed a ton of scrubs, but probably a few dozen. But like, especially if you can feel like the muscles in the tail are relaxed, like they're not really tense, you kind of get them arched back a little bit. It's like you can't mistake it,
yeah,
male versus female. Like it literally would be impossible for you to mistake. Like the probe barely goes in, and then it just like swallows the entire probe.
yeah. Well, it doesn't do that with the Northerns, at least not the ones I probed at the size they were.
Interesting. Okay.
And I sometimes I wonder if that changes, like if their hemipenes are just kind of not very big until they reach sexual maturity, and then all of
They're
a
late
sudden they
bloomers,
get some. They're growers, not showers. Who knows? So, because I clearly those Biocs, I probed those things as girls. I had no doubt they were girls, and then it was like after the first time I cycled them, they would shed these giant peens, and it was like, what the heck? So
man.
I don't know if the cycling triggered them to develop larger, hemipenes or what, but they all dramatically changed. So
I'm going to let that one be and be professional.
There's a lot of bad ways you could go with that.
My brain was working. I'm
I
like,
set that up. I laid that softball right out there over the plate.
nah, it's okay. We can let that one
Oh
go.
man.
So another comment up here. Tom Mendelson supposedly collected a 20-foot Biak decades ago. Are you aware of this account of giant
I
ass?
thought it was, I mean, I've heard the number anywhere from 14, 16, 20 feet, so I
Yeah.
don't, I take it with a grain of salt.
So then what would you venture to say is like the adult size range for these animals?
For Biox,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure they're capable of getting big if they have the resources to do it.
Mhm.
20 feet, I would bet my money that never doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But you have a situation. Maybe historically they used to get big, and then humans came along, and humans started eating their couscous and eating the things that they had. Whether we want to admit it or not, scrub pythons do have to compete against human beings for their food.
True.
And there's some food provided by human beings too, chickens and pigs and
Yeah.
which are not probably utilized that often for some of these things, but a big scrub could eat a small pig and could eat any size chicken. So,
Yeah. True.
but I don't think people like living with big scrubs particularly, so they probably get eaten themselves.
Hey, man.
And then
Can't
couscous are
relate to
pretty
that.
good sized animals, and
Yeah.
that's been the people. I mean, we saw people hunting couscous on Saram, so it's they're competing the scrubs. So maybe before human beings, the scrubs got bigger when there was more
Mm.
wallabies and tree kangaroos and
Good point.
stuff like that, and maybe they're adapting to have to be smaller now to
Hmm.
for a lack of resources. So it's hard to say.
I mean, that kind of tracks if you declare the Australian form as the first scrubs that migrated north and west.
What you think? What that
Or is
the
that
basal species is king horneye?
Oh, I don't know, but just like,
No, that's not. The king horneye is a very young species.
oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah,
So they went down, not
they went down. The
gotcha.
scrub pythons are the oldest scrub pythons are north of the
Oh, okay.
mountains. Everything to the south is very young.
Okay. Good to know.
All the old lineage of scrub pythons are north.
Okay. So back what you were saying about the Bismarck, Halmahera clade being
and
super
I guess the Bismarcks and the Deschutes Islands, those are all basal.
Okay.
So,
Got it. We're learning, folks. Every single day.
Scrubs are not they didn't go to Australia and then come back, or they didn't evolve in Australia and then leave. And it appears there's two radiations to Australia. There's the radiation that turned into king horneye, and then there's the radiation where the chondros and stuff came. And those scrubs in northern Australia are probably just southern scrubs.
Right.
They're not king horneye.
Yeah, and I've definitely heard that. So that was two separate events, not just kind of natural speciation within.
I mean, it could have been one event, but it also if there was a good enough habitat corridor to get scrub pythons all the way down past out of like Iron Range, the chondros should have been able to do it too, and they didn't. And
Okay.
basically, when you're up north, everything that's there, tree monitors. There's a tree monitor just like Indo. There's a scrub just like Indo. Some of the monitor lizards up there are Indo stuff. And once you get down where the king horneye are, there's no there's no tree monitors. There's no chondros. There's no they have different forest dragons than the ones up north.
Interesting.
So that suggests potentially there might have been two radiations, or king horneye just was a southern and is becoming a different thing from one radiation. That's entirely possible.
Is that population of tree monitors up there, is that Prasinus or is that Keith Horneye?
Keith horneye.
Okay. Because there Prasinus in Australia?
There are Prasinus in Australian territory, but not Australian mainland.
Got it. Okay.
There's some on the Torres Strait Islands that Australia controls.
Okay. Because I've seen Australian keepers with green tree monitors, and I'm like,
Yeah,
well,
it's just like
they
they
got
have
them
the
in
same.
Australia.
Yeah, they have northern white lips too, and they openly have them and stuff. Because Australia had like an amnesty, and so basically you could declare some of the things you had that you weren't supposed to have, and they kind of legalized them. And
Got it. Okay. Let's see. So, all right, let's go in chronological order. So do you guys find it easy to visually sex adults via spurs, tail, etc.? What's your thoughts on visually sexing adult scrub pythons?
very mature animals, usually the male has a much bigger head for the size of the snake, and the body proportions are different. The males, like you alluded to earlier, typically are more gracile and not as robust as the females, like in captive situations.
Yeah.
In the wild, I doubt you'd be able to discern that. And then the spurs have a different look on really mature animals. But whether it's enough, you could just look and, oh, that's a boy or that's a girl.
Yeah.
You don't know how old each specimen is. So.
True. Yeah. Yeah, I would pretty much say the same. I think probably around 5-6 years old or so, maybe is when I'm starting to see some of those physical differences really become apparent. And then the older they get, the more apparent. Honestly, I can't say I've really ever paid super close attention to spurs, for better or worse.
Yeah, usually you have like the female spurs are like kind of, I mean, they're not long, but they're long and skinny and not as hooked. And the male spurs are thicker, usually much more hooked.
Yeah,
and
which makes sense.
So you can
Okay.
get some, if they're mature animals, it's pretty, when you see them next to each other and you pair them up, it's like, oh yeah, it's pretty obvious.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the head structure, body structure differences alone are just enough to be able to have good confidence once you've seen a nice little selection of adult scrubs.
Yeah.
So cool. And then Lisa, is April their breeding season? I wonder if they were up in the trees breeding and that's why you missed seeing one in Aru.
I have no idea what their breeding season is in the wild. We just got unlucky in Aru. The guys where we found the chondro, they had found a scrub earlier in the day. And then they found one the day after we were there. So it just, you can't, it's hard to, listen, for as much actual herping time as we did to get the 3 out of 4, it's pretty wild. So
what you're saying is I could not only beat you to breeding Aru scrubs, I could also beat you to seeing them in the wild.
You could, because you would be hard pressed to get me to go back.
Oh shoot! All right, well, we're right around that hour mark, so we've been definitely having a nice little bullshit session first hour, but we have actual topics that we needed to talk about tonight. So maybe we'll attempt that once we're back from commercial. But sit tight, everybody. We will be back in just a few minutes.
Sorry for the interruption, folks, but a quick word from our sponsors. Shout out to tonight's sponsor brought to you by ZooMed.
ZooMed is proud to be supporting the Trap Talk Reptile Network. At ZooMed, reptiles are our passion. For over 48 years, we've been creating premium foods, supplies, and habitats for reptiles and other exotic animals. We're a company made up of hobbyists that test our products on the hundreds of animals that we care for here every single day. Whether you're an established breeder or a first-time hobbyist picking up your first ball python, ZooMed has you covered with everything you need to keep your animals happy and healthy.
I'm excited to talk about this new product with ZooMed called the Slither Sense. It is a remote temperature and humidifying monitoring system, which we all know how important temperature and humidity is to your reptile. And for you to have remote access to your temperature and your humidity in your reptile room could really, really be a game changer for the longevity of you keeping reptiles. So guys, make sure you check out that product. Find the link in the description below. Click on it right now. Give me your feedback in the comments below. Let me know how you're liking a brand new ZooMed product. Shout out to tonight's sponsor, Workshop Reptilium. Josh Hansen is doing things different over in his facility. He has one of the most diverse, beautiful reptile collections currently in the reptile hobby today, but he is doing things differently when it comes to enclosures, thinking outside the box, giving these reptiles bigger enclosures. I feel like it's something this hobby needs. So a lot of exciting stuff to come from Workshop Reptilium. I'm going to be flying up to his place to give you guys a deeper look into his facility. And I'm also excited to have an episode with Josh so he can explain himself where his goals are headed when it comes to keeping. Thank you so much, Josh Hansen over at Workshop Reptilium. Make sure you head over to Instagram. Make sure you head over to Facebook. Also, make sure you subscribe to him on YouTube. You can find all the links in the description below. Again, thank you so much, Josh, over at Workshop Reptilium. Shout out to tonight's sponsor, and that's the one and only Morph Market and Morph Market shipping. One of the biggest exciting things about the reptile hobby over the past couple years is Morph Market shipping taking everything to the next level. Anything as far as reptile purchasing or selling needs can all be done on Morph Market's website. So I highly suggest you go check it out, especially if you're in the market of purchasing your first, second, or third, or fourth reptile. You can find a bunch of legitimate breeders on Morph Market's platforms. They stand very tall on representing the best breeders we have in the hobby. So don't look anywhere else when it comes to looking for your new reptile. Not to mention, if you're looking for aquatics or your next plant, Morph Market's a spot for you as well. Make sure you head over to morphmarket.com. And the best thing about Morph Market's platform, you could ship directly from their website with Morph Market shipping. Morph Market shipping has saved this hobby millions of dollars as a whole. I myself saved thousands with Morph Market shipping last year due to their insanely cheap rates. So definitely go take advantage of these rates on top of the amazing customer service that comes along with Morph Market shipping. Shout out to Darian and Zach, and shout out to the entire Morph Market team. So proud to be a part of this team. Thank you so much for Morph Market shipping and Morph Market, and so excited to announce new Morph Market features that are going to be hitting the reptile hobby real soon, like live sales on Morph Market. Thank you so much, Morph Market and Morph Market shipping.
Alrighty, everybody, we are back. Hello.
Hey.
Welcome back from commercials. So I guess since we're already on the Biak topic, more or less, I guess we could round that out here. So at this point, what's left for incubation?
I don't know. They were laid a couple weeks before or like 10 days or 7 days before I left. So
Okay.
I haven't done the math yet.
So
It's such a long time. I didn't
maybe
do the math.
approaching halfway or so, or a little over halfway.
What is halfway? Like 40 days?
40,
I think I'm
45.
only like, I'm probably, I mean, I could tell you what day they were laid. Give me a second. They were laid on 2/13, so I guess I'm a little ways in.
Yeah. All right. So you're got maybe just shy of a month left on it.
Yeah, so I guess they were laid like 2 weeks before I left.
Okay. Wow.
I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God, she better lay before I leave.
I wouldn't have left if it was me. If she had.
I would have left. My wife would have had to deal with it, but Nick B would have had to deal with it, but my wife.
I know that you would have left, but I know that I probably wouldn't have.
I was losing my mind because that Barnack and her, because you have to plan the trip like months in advance.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there doing the math, and I'm like extrapolating when I thought they would be gravid and might lay. And I was just like, and then my daughter's birthday is the 23rd, and so I was just like, oh man, trying to. And luckily they picked the dates we finalized ended up working out pretty good. I only had 4 clutches laid while I was gone, so.
Only 4 clutches laid.
Well, and nothing, it was one
just
chondro
nice
clutch and some Antarisa clutches. So nothing my wife couldn't handle.
Nice. Yeah. Tim makes a good point here. Biak eggs, are you getting any sleep?
For the first few days I didn't, but once they were cooking for a while, I was okay.
In general, with python eggs, is there a period where after however many days you're like, all right, we're good?
Yeah, usually like 2 weeks if everything's going fine. It's like usually it's pretty good.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I'm so paranoid with incubation all the time. I've had enough scrub clutches that like every single egg tanks in incubation, or like most of them do. It also doesn't help that my incubator is in my living room, so I walk past it 100 fucking times a day. So
you don't have to mess with it.
I don't mess up, but there's like big windows, so like I can just stare at them.
Oh, well, my incubator is sliding glass doors, and my incubator boxes are crystal clear. So, and I walk past it to go to my baby room, so I'm like all
Yeah,
the time.
yeah. Oh man, there's definitely something to be said for live bears, but
Nah, that's worse to me. That's torture. There's
really,
nothing to. That's just like you can't. I feel helpless. There's no indicators along the way if it's going well. You know.
that is true. Yeah, that's definitely a good point. But I guess it's just like if something goes wrong, you can maybe justify a little more, like that wasn't me, you know.
Oh well, I'm
It
listen.
was,
I blame myself for everything, so
yeah,
it doesn't. I'm not. I am not. You'll never hear me be like, "Oh, well, it was the weather," or
yeah.
"Nah, it was me."
Well, you hear a lot of excuses that are frankly ridiculous ultimately, but yeah, I. What do you think about this? Do you think that eggs going bad in incubation has more to do with the incubation itself or the gestation beforehand?
I mean, I think you can definitely have eggs that are not as good from the start if if the female wasn't cared for right and the
Mhm.
laying conditions weren't great, or maybe there was a bunch of slugs, and those things I think can have an effect. But usually, if you get a good egg that has a fighting chance, you should be able to hatch it.
Yeah,
But there are, I mean, there's definitely got to be things that we don't, eggs that are doomed that look fine but are doomed for whatever reason pre pre laying that we don't know about. But
yeah,
but I still, like I said, that's still my fault because
sure,
whatever I did to give those conditions to the female, So I'm not going to wash my hands and be like, oh, that's just
yeah,
whatever. I'm like, I'll still take my responsibility for whatever happens.
yeah. No, absolutely. And that's the thing for me. Like, I've had enough of those experiences where you look at eggs that are starting to go bad on you that candled perfect, looked fine, and it's hard to not go a little crazy. Like, what about this incubation setup did I screw up to where this egg went bad? But um, sometimes it was already bad before it came out of the female.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming there's probably situations where it wasn't something was wrong and nothing you could have done would have changed anything. But
Yeah,
I don't have enough, I get well, you really never know if that's the problem. But typically, if I get a good egg and it looks good, I feel confident that I can usually hatch them.
okay, yeah,
But I've screwed up a lot of eggs too. I've changed incubator boxes, changed incubators, and every time there's a learning curve, and that learning curve, unfortunately, comes at the expense of the eggs in the incubators. So
yeah.
I've screwed up tons of shit. So just
Oh man,
you got to learn your incubator. Every incubator is different.
that's
Every
true.
incubator box is different. Every species cooks differently. So
Yeah. I mean, what's your opinion on the notion that scrub eggs give off like a disproportionate amount of heat at the end of incubation relative to other python species?
I mean, I would say I think bigger eggs. I don't think it's a scrub python thing. I think
Okay.
big python eggs
Yeah.
produce more heat than little python eggs. And I think a lot and I think that most people's incubator boxes for big python eggs are grossly undersized.
Yeah. Because in the past, certain individuals have blamed poor hatch rates or clutches not just going downhill on that phenomenon of heat kind of like off gassing, I guess, at the end of incubation. Do you think it's enough to where if you just kept incubation parameters the same at a appropriate temperature that would even be possible?
I mean, I'm guessing it's probably possible. I can say the scrub eggs that I've cooked in the last few years, I cooked in pretty good sized boxes, but I never opened the boxes. I just let it ride the whole time, no matter how
And
much condensation built up and all that. So
okay, And did you ever drop temperatures
No,
near the end?
no,
Okay.
I don't do any of that.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, will you even move them down in the incubator, or are you
No.
just kind of, you're just like, here it is.
Yep.
You're there, bitch.
I mean, I'll put like chondro eggs I put down close to the floor. Stuff that I think needs to be cooler, I'll put closer to the floor. And
Yeah.
stuff that I feel like has more leeway, I'll put higher up.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So then where
But
do
big boxes, I mean, it's kind of like keeping aquarium fish. The bigger the box, the bigger the fish tank, the more stable the environment is. And I think the bigger your incubation box, I don't think you'd regret it with big clutches of big eggs.
Yeah. Okay. So then, and Patrick put in here, it's an egg, like, reiterating, it's an egg mass to box size ratio issue. So let's say you were incubating a decent sized clutch of scrubs in a container that one may describe as small. Would it be enough at the end of incubation to just make sure that there's getting a lot of a lot of airflow exchange in the box, whether you're cracking the lid on a regular basis or making sure there's not a new buildup of condensation? Or what are your thoughts as far as that goes?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's a double-edged sword. I think you can. I think over ventilating can cause eggs to be, not as leathery and easy for the baby to cut out of.
Mm.
So I think it's a balancing act.
Okay.
And like I said, your incubator, if you have a really dry incubator, then you got to be more careful with that than if you have
Right.
a really humid incubator. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's so difficult. I've probably had 10 different incubators, and every one of them was a little bit different, and there was a bit of a curve to learn each one of them.
Okay.
Even though they're all basically in the same spot.
I'm definitely not asking this question specifically about me right now. So, but yeah, so I guess, do you think that there would be visual indication of that becoming an issue, of like the box really fogging up relative to what it usually has been throughout incubation at the end, if like there's too much heat coming off?
Yeah, well, the condensation is the visual cue that the box is warmer than the incubator.
Yeah.
So if you don't have condensation, then you have very consistent temperature in the box and outside the box.
Okay.
So like I said, my scrub eggs I cooked in a really big tub. The last 3 years. This year I'm not cooking them in as big of a tub. I don't have as many of the big tubs.
Mhm.
So I didn't, in case I get the rock python eggs or whatever, I got to keep one of those open.
Gotcha.
So I've got the Barnett clutch was pretty good size, and it's not in as big a container. So I guess we'll find out how that pans out.
That was 16?
Yeah. And it's in a what's the box is 21 inches by, what is it, 21 by 12 by 6?
Okay.
And they're all in there, so we'll see. Right next to the Biak eggs that are in the same tub, so
Nice.
we'll see how it goes.
Yep. Hell yeah. All right. Well, I guess maybe the next thing that I'll be annoyingly blowing you up about is egg boxes at the end stage of incubation.
Yeah, well, I would, like I said, I wouldn't use those sim boxes like you do, but that's me.
Yeah. No, and it's what I got, so it's what I'm using.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, you got to do what you're comfortable with, and that's another thing. I swear, half of incubation is believing in your incubation.
Yeah.
Because you don't tinker with shit if you believe what you're doing is the right thing, and tinkering with
That's
stuff
true.
is what causes problems. So.
Sure. Yeah. What I've always done and what I'm doing now, and my new incubator is like holding humidity better than any incubator I've ever had, but it's keeping ventilation in the egg boxes from the jump. And like the main chamber fluctuates between about 93 to 100% humidity at any given point in time. So, and like I have a box that is developing condensation The others really aren't. So, which
Is
is
it like localized though? Is it like one wall? Is it the whole box?
I mean, it's really just the lid on that one.
Yeah. You can get there's a product they make for scuba diving. That's you wipe it on and it prevents condensation.
No.
So
Well,
you
it's
can-
never been enough to actually accumulate droplets, just to kind of fog it up where you can't really see through. But then, like, it's not like I lift the lid and water starts to shift in any direction.
Yeah.
It's just kind of
The eggs I did last year, man, it was raining in there by the time it was over.
and falling on the eggs and all that stuff.
I mean, I guess it was dripping on the box. I don't think it ever dripped on them, but
Okay.
because I have my shelves are slanted, so
Yeah.
condensation runs towards the back. But
Gotcha.
it was like that's part of the reason I didn't open the tub, because I'm like, I can't open this thing without dumping water all over everything. So I just
Yeah. Oh
forget
shoot.
it. I'll
Man,
I'll just let it ride.
I would be freaking out if that was the case for me. Ugh, I couldn't do that. So Lisa asked a good question here. Do you guys use press and seal on your boxes?
I do not know,
Yeah, neither do I.
but I know a friend of mine. His success went way up when he started doing it with
Really?
his incubators. So
Okay. Was he running a dry chamber then?
I'm assuming that must have been what was going on.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
So, like I said, me personally, I never have, but I do know of a particular person that they had remarkably better success doing that.
Do your boxes have ventilation in them
No.
so that just whatever oxygen?
Well, the really big ones do. There's
Okay.
like one. I think there's the really large Cambro tubs have four 3/16" holes.
Okay.
But the full pan tubs that I'm using right now, they don't have anything.
Got it. So then in that setup, are the lids not tight enough where there's a little bit of oxygen exchange going on?
The lid just sits on it. There's no gasket or anything. It just kind of loosely sits on it.
Okay. So that's enough alone to create at least a little bit of gas exchange, right?
I guess. I'm assuming there's probably not much.
Okay. Because I've always been like kind of curious if, whatever air you trap in there at the beginning of incubation is enough to sustain that clutch throughout the period if there was no gas exchange at all.
Yeah, I think most things we assume are airtight are probably not that airtight.
Yeah. True.
So I wouldn't say they were airtight, but there's not a lot of exchange going on.
Yeah. Okay.
So I probably will, if there's a lot of condensation on those scrub clutches, I'll probably tilt the lid open once a week or something and
Yeah.
swap out the air.
Okay.
But like my chondro clutches, I don't do any of that. But
Yeah.
but that's a big tub for little eggs, and I hardly get any condensation, and I don't ventilate it, and it works fine with them.
And also like a full month shorter incubation period.
Yeah,
Not
that's
more.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Alrighty. So I kind of want to round out the Biak discussion. So just for kind of some reference point, this female, how long did you have her before attempting to breed her this year?
Let me look.
And I guess maybe it's the same for the male as well.
I got her in 2023.
Okay. So not a crazy long time.
No, she was the biggest one I got.
How big was she when you got her?
Probably a foot smaller than she is now.
Okay. So would you say she was probably an adult, at least from an age standpoint, when you got her?
I don't think she was a sexually mature adult. She was still pretty brightly colored when I got her. And it was I'd probably had her about a year and a half before she started getting kind of darker looking.
So maybe, like the 4-year range or so when you got her?
I mean, she could have been 5 or 6 years old when I got her.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard. We don't know what the growth rate is in the wild, but
Right.
she wasn't a young snake, but I don't think she had reached sexual maturity.
Got you. Okay.
Because she was only like as big around. I mean, she was really long, but she was probably only about, I don't know, a little bigger than a quarter maybe at the thickest.
Oh, okay. Wow.
But she's not, I mean, she's really not a whole lot bigger. She's not even as big around as a 50-cent piece. So she's not much bigger now.
My female is so much. The
Oh,
profile.
dude, your female is the. I saw your female and went, God damn it! I gotta grow my. I gotta get mine close to as big as yours.
She should have been the one to go first. Okay.
She should have, and I thought it's like I told you on the phone. I said, "Look, man, I'm wishing you luck. Just a day after me."
Well, it'll be at bare minimum a year after you. Mother.
I was hoping you would do it. Just I wanted to beat you to it. I'm competitive like that. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I went home from your house going, God, I gotta get that thing going.
Well, the consequence of that may end up being you needing to send me a mail if I resex this.
Well, I've got plenty of males, so if you need a male, let me know.
The one thing that I never saw courtship, never saw a lock. So that could be the problem.
Let me look. I saw 4 copulations.
Yeah.
But they could have bred other times that I didn't see.
Sure.
They spent time in the hide box together.
You know, almost every pair of scrubs that I've bred that everything went well, I just, it seems like they made a lot. Like they enjoyed doing that on a regular basis. So anytime I've had a pair that I just haven't seen that, despite knowing the females has follicles, like it just really makes me question what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the scrubs, to me, it seems like they don't do anything, and then all of a sudden they're interested in each other, and then they go. So
yeah.
I think some of the other pythons I've worked with seem to have a longer window of being interested in the opposite sex than the scrubs.
Interesting.
For me, they seem like they're not interested in each other, and then all of a sudden they're interested in each other, and that rapidly leads to, either ovulation or reabsorption.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to say I've seen the same. Or like how we've talked about of maybe like one kind of anomaly lockup.
Yeah, like the very first time, like it's been a year and the male just wants to get some.
It's a good question from Lisa. Have you guys ever tried the take the pair for a drive trick? Is that a real thing? I'll let you go first.
I know it was a real thing based on talking to old timers when I first got into this. It was a very real thing. Have I ever done it? I'm trying to think if I ever did. Yeah. God, it's been a while. I might have done it with a carpet python back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say I did it for sure though. I know I considered doing it and I might have done it, but I usually had another male to wrestle with it or something. So
Gotcha.
I'm not sure I ever actually did it.
Okay. I've done it one time. I drove all of my adults from Indianapolis to El Paso, 22 hours, and they all wanted to breed immediately thereafter.
Yep, there you go. I think it works. I think it's definitely probably something to consider if you've got a male not doing anything.
I didn't even like really think ahead on it, but when I got here and I was kind of temporarily setting everybody up, I'm like, fuck it, I'll just throw some together. I think I had 6 pairs lock up that first day.
Yeah.
And they didn't all end up resulting in clutches, but at least a few of them did.
Yeah, so. No, I think change can be good sometimes. Not, usually really drastic change isn't the greatest, but
yeah, well,
it does work occasionally too.
I definitely had my share of hardships of egg-bound females after that. But anyway, no need to go into that. Question from Sean here. Is it a death sentence for scrub eggs to get wet?
No.
Yeah, I agree. No.
I used to keep a spray bottle in my incubator and I sprayed all my eggs directly every day.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah, back in the early 2000s, I literally kept a squirt bottle in my incubator, so the water was the correct temperature. The only eggs I didn't spray were chondro eggs, but ball python, carpet eggs, my nada eggs, I drenched those things.
Drench them.
Yep, every day. Puddles on them, the whole 9 yards. I wouldn't do it now, but I did it a ton back then. Ball pythons, all that stuff. I'm trying to think if I did it with the antares. I don't know if I did it with the antares. I did it with carpets, I know for sure. I did it with ball pythons a ton. I did it with the nada eggs. I sprayed them. Yeah, I probably did it with the antares. I think chondro is the only thing I didn't do it with.
I'm sorry, I'm so silent right now. I'm just like, I've been doing this for like 16 going on 17 years. I've never heard this before until this moment from anybody that anyone's ever sprayed eggs.
Yeah.
What was the thought
like
process?
hosing them down. It wasn't even like a little spritz. It was like, you know, when they're getting close to hatching and there's dimples in the eggs, those dimples would be a pond.
What the fuck? Was this a Ryan Young concoction?
No, somebody told me to do it. I can't remember who. I can't remember what. I must have been influenced by somebody, and it worked fine. I don't even remember why I stopped. Probably because I started hearing people say it was bad. So.
Lisa says the Barkers talk about spraying eggs in their ball python book to just rub into everyone's face that I have not read that book.
Maybe that's where I learned it. I don't know. But yeah, I literally kept a squirt bottle in the incubator. And I remember thinking every day, like, I got to refill it and put it in there at night. So in the morning it was up to temp and I could spray everything.
This is, yeah. Tim makes a good point here. I wonder how many people are going to start spraying their eggs after this podcast.
Well, listen, I don't spray them anymore.
Start spraying your eggs.
I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying that's what I used to do.
You got to turn yourself into a Chris Rice meme and just spray the shit out of all of your eggs constantly.
Yep.
Hell yeah. Wow. Interesting. So was that just for the sake of just trying to keep up humidity?
I don't even know. It was just what I must have been told to do, and I just did it. I probably didn't. Back then, I didn't think as much about things. I just kind of did what I was told.
Wow. So. Interesting.
And it worked fine. Worked great. Hatched them all.
Hey, man, if it works, it works, you know. It's hard to...
I think I had a lot of holes, but I'm trying to think back, and I had... My incubator box probably looked like Swiss cheese back then. Had a ton of air holes, and so I think it was like fighting that.
Okay.
And it wasn't until later when it was like, oh, maybe we should use less ventilation and not be hosing them down. And so you just kind of change your ways over time.
Yeah. Wow. Fascinating. Shoot. Well, I guess before we, I want to talk about this Moluccan adventure. But when it came to the breeding process, did anything really stand out to you as being much different than any other scrubs or just pythons in general with these Biaks?
I mean, I agonized over it because of my competitive nature. And then we were talking on the phone quite a bit, and so I was like, man, and I usually keep shit to myself. I'm not a very open book. I don't usually share that kind of thing. And so the fact that you even beat it out of me, I just, I don't know how that happened. But so yeah, I just don't. When it actually started to work, I mean, you probably heard me hear when you were talking to me. You'd probably hear phrases like, "Oh, I feel okay about it," and stuff like that. And usually, if I'm saying stuff like that, then
then you're like, it's in the fucking bag.
I'm much further along than
the Python King strikes again.
Because I think we were talking, and you were like, well, I think my female might be doing. What's yours doing? And I was like, well, I think it ovulated. So,
you're like, well, she's sitting on eggs right now. They're all perfect.
But so yeah, I'm not an open book. I tend to keep shit to myself. So sharing with you was an interesting experience. And but yeah, I wanted it so badly. That was one of the things I wanted the most this year.
I feel like it's less you being an open book and more you being like, hey, guess what? Fuck you, I beat you, bitch.
No, dude, I genuinely, that wasn't it. Because I still, the whole time, I'm like, well, I could get bad eggs. I could not hatch them. You know, there's a myriad of reasons why I would just keep it to myself.
Yeah.
But I was trying to be more open with my friends, as my wife suggests, and not keep everything bottled up. But
Oh, man.
it's not easy for me. It doesn't come naturally.
Well, at least up until this point, it hasn't jinxed anything. So,
Yeah, well, I figure at this point it's like the die is cast. It's either going to be good or it's going to be bad, and whatever happens. But
that is definitely the case. So, well, we were all going to be keeping our eyes peeled for about a month from now, maybe a little less than a month, with little.
Oh
little
man,
baby
it's that
Biaks.
soon? I don't even want to think about it. I try not to think about it.
Yep. Shoot, might even be 26 days exactly, 27 days exactly.
The Barnack laid first. I thought the Biak was going to lay before the Barnack, and the Barnack laid the day before the Biak.
Okay.
So,
and
I would have been way more excited about that to check that box than but I was too worked up over the Biak to fully appreciate the Barnack.
You lost the Barnack 6 years ago, so
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, all right. Fuck yeah, this is incredible. So we will see. Come sometime early to mid-April or May. Baby Biak scrub should be hitting the ground.
Yeah, it'd be cool. I hope it all goes well.
Me too. So now, changing gears to you really just rubbing it in.
I definitely thought of you when I decided to change from all Aru to adding, that to my list.
Yeah, you made some very smart ass post about like I didn't even really care to do this. So like, all right, I guess.
Well, I don't know that I would have gotten on a plane and gone that whole way just to spend a week looking for them. So it was more of when I realized we had to go through Ambon to get to Aru, it was like, well, I'm not going to go to Ambon and not look.
Yeah.
So then it became a fairly easy decision to do that little detour. And honestly, it would have been nice to stay a little longer. It was nicer than Aru.
Yeah. So. Well, I mean, just judging by this picture right here, I could imagine you wanting to stay longer once you get there. Oh my God, look how freaking beautiful that is.
Yeah, we literally found that thing probably a few hundred yards from where that photo was taken.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's like a platform up on top there, and I don't know if it was built for birding or what, and we hung out there during the day, and then we literally just walked right down that to the beach. That's where we went herping. So. Okay,
so then with that said, are these snakes being found more kind of shoreline?
No, it was up on like I said, we were up on the top of the mountain and we found that thing 15, 20 minutes after starting down that hill.
And then you kind of made your way down.
Yeah, it was downhill, like
got it.
Kind of sketchy downhill, holding on to trees, rocks, slippery. It'd been raining like crazy all day.
Damn.
So it was, there was places where it was like, hopefully we don't hurt ourselves going down this hill, but we had been going down the hill and we'd gotten to a pretty steep part, and there was a few locals, the hunters and us, and we were kind of in the middle, and there was a couple hunters out front, and there was one hunter behind us, and he was ultimately the one who spotted it. And I half suspect that we probably disturbed it when we all kind of went next to it, and he was a little ways behind, and then it ended up it was heading up to the canopy by the time we got back and saw it.
Gotcha. Okay, so considering where you found it and what the snake was probably doing, what's kind of like, how would you describe the habitat?
I mean, it was just your classic Indo rainforest.
Yeah.
It was in like a bush small tree sub canopy kind of, but it was the tops of the tree were getting into more of the upper canopy tree limbs, so it could have traversed the. It was intending to leave the little tree bush and go up to the bigger, taller trees.
Gotcha.
That's where it was
So-
headed when we found it. So yeah, that's what the habitat looked like.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be damn near impossible to spot one of those things and how dense that rainforest is.
Yeah, I mean that picture is probably a little misleading because that's kind of in an opening. Once you get into you penetrate where the sun isn't shining, there's like a lot more. It's more open than you would picture.
Okay.
But yeah, it's still. I guarantee we walked past more of them than
Sure.
We didn't just the only one that was there. We didn't happen to find it.
Okay.
It was more of a. I guarantee you there was others that we just didn't see.
Gotcha.
And it's like there's cockatoos flying overhead, and you can occasionally get like a millisecond view of them.
Okay.
It's really difficult. It's really dense on over your head. Once you're underneath, you can walk around fairly consistently. There's some small bushes and stuff, but it's
Okay.
easy to kind of wander around and get through there.
Okay. So are there trails essentially, considering the collection and the birding and stuff like that, or are you guys kind of?
Yeah,
just,
we were on trails. We were
Okay.
on trails that I don't know why there's trails, if the locals use those trails or what, but
Yeah.
it ultimately went from that platform all the way to a village on the
Okay.
beach.
Gotcha. And then considering that kind of rainforesty habitat, would it be just too much of a task to kind of start to go off trail, try to get into the bush a little bit?
No, you can go off trail relatively easily. And
Okay.
you do, like when you would get to an area, you could walk off and look around.
Okay.
So it just depends how much time you have. If they're trying to go fast, if you're trying to go slow,
Yeah.
you can do different things.
I mean, I'd have to imagine that in habitat like this, you probably are better off really taking your time and just like being super diligent surveilling the area you in, as opposed to just like trying to cover ground. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think you have two different types of field herping. There's
Yeah.
the theory like you can either cover a lot of ground, you're going to miss more stuff, but statistically you might cross paths with more stuff. And then there's the theory that I'm going to go slow and I'm going to miss nothing. So
Yeah.
it's kind of, I don't know if either of them are fully accurate, but
Sure. Well,
yeah,
if
we
one
because
was,
we
you
walked.
were doing it.
The last guy found it, and there was what at least five, so five of us walked past it. So
Okay.
it's clearly the last guy in line can still find stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
maybe the only reason the snake was visible was we all went walking by, trampling through, and then it was like, oh, if something's around here, I need to take off.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why it was moving at all. That's the only reason anybody saw it.
Yeah. Makes sense. Phew. I mean, what was that feeling like when you actually like first got eyes on this snake, running over to where the guy had it?
Honestly, it was weird. It was.
You were like, it was kind of lame. It was like, this isn't a green python.
No, it was weird because it seemed too easy because we
Yeah.
literally had only been herping for 15, 20 minutes. And so we were like concerned, like, did they plant this? Like, is this a plant here, And so we were looking it over and it had no rub marks and, and then they didn't, and they could legally collect it and they didn't have bags to collect it. So we were like, huh. And they were eager to let it go. So we were like, well, this, it was legit. It just seemed odd, It seemed we didn't have to. Yeah. So I probably didn't appreciate it as much in the moment as I should have because I just was like, huh, this seemed too easy.
Oh my God.
And so it was because like literally the sun was still out. I mean, that photo, it had been raining and it was overcast. And by raining, it rained big time for a few hours leading up to that. And so,
what time of day was this?
man, I'm
7?
trying to think. I think it got dark there at like 7-ish, So it was probably
5:30.
5 in the afternoon, 5,
Okay.
6. It was still relatively light out. So I was just
Yeah.
surprised to find,
Yeah. But I'd have to imagine, at least for scrubs and for chondros, you're night herping through and through, right?
Yeah, we were surprised. I was actually surprised. Well, I should say, I was surprised. I can't speak for the other guys, but I was surprised that we were going herping that early.
Yeah.
But I've later found out that the locals didn't have very good flashlights and they didn't want to get stuck on the mountain at night
Oh,
in the
okay.
dark. So they didn't
Well, that's
realize that
responsible.
we had enough flashlights for everybody, but
Mm.
there's kind of a language barrier there. So.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And I don't regret it now. We got one, so it's kind of like it worked
Yeah.
out. But
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine if you had to choose between finding one during the day and finding one at night, you would choose find one during the day.
yeah, the guy who owned the platform, he had found one on the road the night before we were there,
Okay.
and it was a different snake. He showed us pictures on the cell phone, and it was a much brighter specimen.
Okay.
So they seemed they seemed plentiful. The guys were pretty confident we would find. Like they seemed like they had a good feeling we could find one. And
I mean, it makes sense that they would be plentiful considering, I mean, look at these habitat shots. Like, they're not, this is in its natural form and they don't have any predators and they're not collected in large numbers.
yeah, we saw 3 couscous that night too. So there was plenty of prey base, and yeah, there's one of the couscous up in the tree. And that thing's big. Like that thing's the size of like a big house cat.
Yeah.
So it's not a little creature.
No.
But so yeah, and then around that platform there was like lots of chickens, and I'm sure the human rubbish attracts rats. So
Sure.
I could see the scrub living right in that right where we were all day. There was plenty of food, and so
Especially if they really don't get much pressure from the human population.
yeah, I didn't see anything to suggest that the people were actively hunting them that much.
Yeah. Are there any venomous species on Ambon or Saram?
I believe so, but I couldn't tell you which ones are.
Some like little elapid.
I basically, for my rule is if it's not a python, I don't know what it is, I'm not touching it.
Yeah. But it's not like, I mean, it would just be some kind of like a lapid, little colubrid looking elapid.
Yeah,
right?
I think they have some kind of small-eyed snake or something.
Yeah. So.
Oh, and I think there's death adders.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't know if they're on
Really?
Saram, but I think they're on Aru.
Okay. Wow.
Because we were told, like, there's kind of keep an eye out for death adders. And I'm like, well, keep an eye out. Their whole point of them things is not to be seen.
You're never going to see a death adder.
But
Oh my God. That's like one of the last snakes I'd want to hear. Keep an eye out for.
yeah, well,
Yeah,
look, when
death
you go to the Kimberley in Australia and you're looking for ownpelly pythons, you're walking around in leaf litter the whole night. So it's kind of take your chances.
I mean, at least, I mean, I don't know if this is at least, but like, they're not supposed to be very painful bites.
Well, that could be good or bad. You might not even notice them.
Well,
Might
right.
get bit and then keep on herping and die.
Yeah, well, Brian Fry's account of the intentional self-inflicted death adder bites was like the most intense psychedelic trip he had ever experienced.
Yeah, I don't know. I that's not my cup of tea.
Yeah, no, I mean, but that would be wild. Like you're just in Indo herping and now you're just tripping out on death adder,
Venom.
communicating with the gods of the rainforest.
Well, especially when you get back to the village and they're partying all night. So the music they play is just insane, like this crazy dance party music all night,
Really?
from the second the sun goes down till 6 in the morning. It's wild.
I mean, it sounds fun. That's crazy.
Oh man, it was so funny, and then you'd start like kind of dancing, and then the locals would laugh at you. It was pretty
If
wild.
you want to ride.
There you go.
You should have started to play the white horse for them. They might have
Oh
been really
man,
jacked about it.
yeah, it was wild. I didn't expect that. That was not
Interesting.
something I expected.
Were they pretty hospitable to you guys out there?
Yeah, amazing, amazing. Like they gave you a little. One of the villages was like, "Oh, here, take this house to live in," and another one cleared their schoolhouse out for us, and so yeah, it was.
Wow,
They were very hospitable, very nice, amazing people.
that's great. Nice. Are they, I guess, primarily used to tourists from the birding community?
On Aru, I got the sense that they didn't see white people basically ever. And I think one guy told me that like they hadn't a lot of the kids under like 10 or 12 had never seen a white person.
Damn, imagine must be a crazy feeling knowing that you're the first white person that this person has ever seen.
Well, I took hundreds of selfies with people and I was like a mini celebrity. It was wild. I felt like Taylor Swift of Poplar or something. It was crazy. And women would hand you their babies and stuff. It was just wild. But like a 6-foot blue-eyed white dude is like pretty weird looking when most of the Papuans are pretty short. So
Yeah.
I stood out like a sore thumb.
That's just, I mean, there are not many places in the world where you can really have that experience.
No, and on Ambon and Saram, you didn't really get like they would kind of give you a double take, like, oh, okay. But in Aru, it was completely different. Like it was a spectacle. Once we left Dobo and got out into the remote villages, our presence was a spectacle for the entire village to see.
But it wasn't like, were they like afraid or anything? Or they're just like,
No, they were just curious. Just like I actually felt like a gorilla at the zoo. Now I'm never going to look at the gorilla the same, where it's like clearly a sentient, smart being that all these people are just staring at. You know, like you're wondering what they're thinking, and they're wondering what you're thinking, and so it was wild. It was really wild.
you're just an albino gorilla.
Yeah, and you would try to interact with them, like try to give them a fist bump, and they would get all shy, and occasionally one would get up the nerve, and they would give you a fist bump, and then the whole village would freak out, and so it was wild.
You're like, am I turning white?
So, it was that was a whole new experience.
Yeah, I could imagine so. That must be pretty insane.
The weirdest thing was that you literally would watch them make dugout canoes with old tools, and yet they had a cell phone in their pocket. It's just like, how this doesn't make this.
Yeah.
The picture of this, there's no running water, but there's a cell phone.
But they have TikTok.
Yeah. I'm sure. I wish I knew how to look up, wherever they post their social media, because there's probably hundreds of pictures of me with the hashtag Boule. So it'd be pretty wild to see that.
That's hilarious. Wow. Pretty cool though. Yeah, well, I mean, I could imagine that being a weird feeling of like, I guess before I finish that thought, did you send me any pictures of Aru? Lisa's asking.
I don't know if I did. I mean,
those are all
Aru is basically low-lying, mangrove-lined.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I probably forgot.
It's all right. But like having planned the trip for months, having taken the, 28 hours to get over there, and then to find the snake in like a very, very short period of time must have been a bit of a trip. Like, wait.
Yeah, it literally, we were like, is this legit? Like, is this a real, did this really happen? And so I don't know. I mean, I should be grateful for it, but sometimes when it's harder, it feels better, I guess. But,
yeah.
So, and then, it's just how it goes sometimes.
Was the chondro more of like all right, we worked for this type of find?
Yeah, we were in Saram for 2 nights. And then we were on Ambon for 1 night before we flew to Aru. And the 2 nights, the first night we were in Saram, it rained and rained and rained, and we got the guys to take us out road cruising, but I mean, we didn't really know if we would have known how good the road looked later, we would have made them keep going, but they were kind of like, oh, we farted around, and then they took us back. The next day we drove over, we were on the south side of Saram, and we went herping on the north side, so we literally drove like up over a mountain pass and then down the other side, and that's one of those photos is from the top.
Okay.
And then, so when we saw that road, we were like, man, you could road cruise probably fairly consistently Class Lepus on this road. And the guy that owned that platform, like I said, he did find one on the road the night we were road herping. We just didn't go that far because we didn't know the road went that far. We didn't really know what was going on. And we found one snake that night in a drainage ditch. Chris ID'd it, but I can't remember, some kind of snail-eating snake or some weird little 12-inch long snake.
Little colubrid.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it was.
Okay.
But so but by the time we walked down that mountain, got back to the village, it had been dark for a little while, and then we just took the cars back over the mountain to the hotels.
Okay.
And then the next day we went to Ambon and then flew out to Aru after that in the morning.
Okay. And how long is that flight?
From Ambon to Aru?
Yeah.
I think it was less than 2 hours, or right around 2 hours.
Okay.
So that was a pretty short flight.
Yeah.
And then we had to take like a 2.5 hour boat ride from Dobo to get out to a different part of Aru.
Okay. Cool. And then the chondro excursion.
Well, the first village we went to was known for the black tree monitors.
Okay.
And since we were traveling with Chris, of course, that's what he was after.
Yeah.
And so we went there, and they weren't lying. I saw 3, I think, but there was 8 caught the day that we actually put in an effort to find them.
Oh, wow.
So they were pretty plentiful. But the first night we were in that village, because when you're in the village, they were like, look, if you want to mess around here, you got to take a villager with you. And so every night we wanted to go field herping, we ended up going with 2 villagers. And we quickly realized that they don't really, we were like, do you see snakes? And they're like, no. It's like, well, what do we do? Because they marched us. Me and Chris ended up marching, man, forever that first night through the jungle. Went a long ways into Aru, and it was like, we were just like on this death march. I was just like, what are we doing? We're not even really herping. We're just like going and going and going. And we did it. We saw a really cool frog and a boiga that night. But we were like, this is crazy. We need to head back. These guys, they're not the right guys to be doing this with.
Yeah.
And then, so we didn't see a chondro that night. And then the next night, we herped around that same area. But we weren't sure that there was many chondros there. The locals were like, no, we see the tree monitors, but we don't really see chondros here very much.
Okay.
And so we went to a different village to look for the chondros. And then from that village, we went on a boat ride. It was like 20 minutes or so. And then went to a spot. We stopped at this spot, and there was like a hut along the river. And they had seen a scrub that day at that hut, but by the time we got there that night, it was gone. And so there was a pretty good group that night looking for the chondro. There's probably like 10 or 12 people, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe more than that. And
not bad.
I kind of got the same feeling that night. We were just kind of on a march, and I ended up way in the back of the pack, and I was like, I'm just going to go slow, and I didn't really care to keep up. And I don't know, Chris ended up staying back too. And then there was kind of like a fork in the trail, and some of the guys went to the left, and the bulk of the crew went to the right. And I was just like, I just said something to Chris. I'm like, man, this marching all night hasn't produced one yet. I said, I just want to go really slow and like really look hard.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm going to go to the left. There was another guy that was with us too, and he's like, well, I'm going to go to the right. You know, you guys, good luck, basically. And he
Mhm.
took off and went and caught up. And so before I knew it, it was basically just me and Chris. We're going real slow, just like walking a few feet, looking through, you know, shining through the jungle, trying to
Yeah.
see one, walking a few feet. It was really, really slow going. And I had said something to Chris about, I'm like, man, there's a lot of people out here. You know, if we find one, it's going to be a zoo. I said, so it'd be best if we found one ourselves.
Mhm.
And like less than 2 minutes later, I spotted it. And I
Wow.
said something to Chris, and he literally thought I was bullshitting him because I had just said that we needed to find one.
Yeah.
And it was off the trail a long ways, and it was facing away from us. So I only saw like the little S curve of its head and neck, and it
Mm.
wasn't green; it was the white part. And so,
Oh, okay.
and when I first saw it, I was like, "That doesn't look right." And I'm looking, and I'm like, "That
Yeah.
is one." I'm like, "That's totally one." And I kept pointing it out. I'm like, "It's right. It's 15, 20 feet back there." And he's like, "I can't see it. I can't see it." And so,
It must be damn near impossible to spot a green tree python by the green in the jungle like that.
no, actually, it's the opposite. They glow. Like when we found the pulcher on Waiga, that thing was like fucking like a neon sign. It
Oh,
just
okay.
like it was like, look at me from 100 yards away. Like, it was really stood out. So then that's why, like in Australia, they road cruise them, and you could literally just because it's like it's a brighter green than any of the trees, and so you
Yeah.
just look for a green that doesn't look right, and that's
Mm.
But I didn't look. I mean, luckily I spotted the white part and was like, it just looked funny to me, and I'm like, that doesn't look like the way a tree grows.
Yeah.
And so I fixated on it, and then I'm like, I think that's the head and the neck. And then I kind of moved and looked, and then I told Chris, I think I got one. And he's like, you're full of shit. You just said we needed to find one. I said, I swear to God, dude, it's right there. And then he's come and look and finally he spotted it. He's like, I think it is one. And then we had to crawl through the jungle because like right along the trail, it was pretty dense. Anywhere there was no like tree cover, then it was dense, but then it opens up. So we had to like get down and crawl in, and then you could stand up. And then I went kind of next to it and past it and turned around and like, oh fuck yeah, there it is. So that was
Wow.
a pretty wild moment.
I'd have to imagine a chondro is a good snake to like have to kind of chase after a little bit once you spot it.
Oh
Chances of it moving are probably very low.
yeah, no, they don't basically don't move.
Like, there it is, 100 feet that way. All right. Well, we can take our time. Yep.
Yeah, no, the one we found in Wego, it was like it wasn't quite to the ground yet, and Chris was way ahead, and I left the snake, which was totally, I couldn't believe I was able to convince myself to leave that chondro. And by the time we were gone for probably like an hour, by the time we came back, it was just further down, actually set up to hunt. Like it totally didn't care that I already took 100 photos of it. And it was like, oh, they're gone. Now I can go back to hunting.
Yeah.
And so it had crawled like another 2 feet down and was set up on ambush. So, and Chris was like, yeah, they don't go anywhere, but it was still hard to walk away from it.
Yeah, I could imagine so. I don't think I would be able to do that.
But yeah, no. So it was it was awesome. I had like a couple minutes, and we started hooting and hollering for the rest of the people to show up, and so I knew it was going to be a madhouse, and so I started trying to take as many photos as I could in a short amount of time before the mayhem started, and yeah, it turned into a shit show, and
Yeah.
so by the time Mutton had showed up, it was people were fucking with it and taking selfies, and it wasn't sitting how it was.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, so it was a bittersweet moment because it was a great experience for me, and it was not a great experience for him. So
Yeah.
I feel bad about that. But
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely too bad, but I guess it's kind of what would come along with going on a herping expedition with the kind of bigger group of people.
yeah, usually I was surprised. I didn't, it wasn't it just that's how it happened. And
Yeah.
I wish he would have been there early on, but because I know it bothers him how it went down. So
Yeah.
that wasn't the greatest experience for him. It was one of my favorite experiences, but I probably don't enjoy it as much as I should because I know it wasn't a great experience for him.
Yeah.
So, kind of sucks.
Hey, man. At least you guys saw the snake. That's more than most people can say.
But and if I had to do it over again, I wouldn't have said anything for like a half hour. I would have taken as many pictures as I wanted to. Snake wasn't going anywhere. I should have taken a long time and taken a bunch of more pics, but because
True.
I did not take. I took a few pics and some of them turned out okay, but not. As soon as the guys started showing up, they started smoking and it just everything kind of got cloudy and it just was just went to shit real quick. So
that sucks.
But it's hard to. There's a language barrier, and it's hard trying to keep control of a situation when there's that many people.
Yeah.
So
sure.
It went downhill, but
yeah, well, that sucks. Yeah. Anyway, but well, shoot. I mean, at this point, like, what are some of the top targets you still? I mean, not that you've done a ton of trips over to Indo, Papua, but like, what are species or localities of species that you're like in the next however many trips?
The other top? Two chondros, they're the top. Yeah, I got Pulcher and Viridis. I gotta find Eudorensis and Azuria. So
okay,
those will be the targets next time.
Nice.
And then when you're there, there's all the scrubs, obviously, and then the different tree monitors and and I'd love to find a Papuan python. We didn't get one of those on the previous trip, so that's high on the list. And then southern white lip, but that won't be where we're going next time. So
you can get northern white lips where you're going, though.
Yeah, we've got a northern white lip on Wygo.
Yeah.
So could see more of those, but who knows? So I've got to get over there and see what happens. Shake the trees and see what falls out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I've been enjoying living vicariously through you guys on these trips because I'm not sure how soon I'll be able to ever do that myself. So,
well, yeah, I would. I wish I would have done it a lot earlier in life than I did. So I would recommend you do it. If you make it a priority, you can do it. You just have to decide to do it. That's the hardest part, is just convincing yourself it's okay and then actually doing it.
Well, if anyone who's listening wants to help me get over there by buying more scrub pythons, let me know.
Heck yeah, me too.
Yeah. Oh man, this might be a good one to end on. Your opinion on or your thoughts on the Morotai scrubs?
As far as what, like different?
Anything, I guess. You like them? You think they're cool?
Yeah, I think they're badass. So.
Do you think that they're just a locality type of Halmahera, or might even be like a subspecies?
I don't know. They have a kind of Halma vibe to them, but not really a Halma. So
okay,
what? I haven't got a close enough look at one to see scale differences or anything like that. But
yeah, not me either. They just look like you took like damn near a bar neck pattern and put it on a Halmahera.
Yeah, they're
super cool. And that has to be the most northern ranging scrub python, right?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I think Halmas already are. So, and then Morotai is north of that. So
yeah, which that alone is pretty cool as well. Yeah, I would love to be able to see some of those in the States. That would be freaking sweet. But for now, we can just hope. So,
yeah, I think if they're like Halmas, then it's going to be an uphill battle.
Yes, no question about it.
And then they probably have even a rougher time getting here. So
yeah, I just have to get even further.
Yep.
Yeah.
They have to change hands and get intermingled with Halmas probably. So it's going to be tough slogging to get those.
Yeah, No question. So one day, but yeah, those and the keys, those are the two at this point that are like seem like they could be possible, but feel like they're not.
Yep.
Because with the Bismarcks, we at least know that the chances of that are pretty much.
Well, that'll be the white whale after if I ever do the other ones. So
Yeah.
then I'll become obsessed with that and have to figure that out.
Oh, if I could beat you to those, I would be so happy. Oh my God.
If you could beat me to those, then I'll never talk to anybody ever again.
Like Ryan didn't come back from his last Indo trip.
Ryan is very petty and competitive, if you haven't noticed.
I mean, it's, I wouldn't expect anything less from the person who's bred more pythons than anybody in world history.
Well, that only in species numbers, not actual breathing snake numbers. So.
Yes, but that's not the metric that you're measuring it by.
No, but I just, there's people that have hatched way more pythons than me.
Well, yeah, but who wants to do that realistically, though?
Everybody's got different things that trip their trigger.
I guess so. Amen. I guess I don't know. I would say more power to you, but I don't think anybody should have that goal because the lives of those many pythons can't be that great. So
yeah, I don't know. I just had a goal to do as many or more as my mentors, the Barkers, and that was just, I don't know. That was kind of a thing that I wanted to do, and
yeah.
Then after I accomplished that, I was kind of like, well, now what? Then I was like, well, why not just try to do them all? So.
Yep. Well, you will never have to worry about me trying to catch you on that because I have no inclination to want to do that.
No, that's fine. Like it's not even something I always enjoy. I don't love every species the same. So
yeah,
but it's been an amazing. I've enjoyed the shit out of it. I've learned a lot, and
yeah,
I hope to keep on going till I run out.
Absolutely. Well,
then I can settle down with my chondros and be happy.
Yep, and your scrubs.
And my scrubs. I do love my scrubs.
God. If you ever abandon the scrub community, I'll be so sad.
I doubt I'll ever not have scrubs again until I'm real old, but I probably won't have as many as I have now.
Fair enough.
I really wanted to do like a long-term breeding project with the Northerns. I don't know if I'll be able to if I'm trying to do these other things, but we'll see.
Just keep one pair of the F2s. It doesn't take much.
Yeah, I plan on it. I'm just but if I ever had the opportunity to get some of the other ones and I had to get a decent sized group, then you can't keep everything forever.
Fair enough. That is definitely true.
I have to know my limitations.
Yeah.
And then it's like, what do I do? Do I do like the Biak thing? Do I try to have a big colony of those? Do I, it's a hard, I think I prefer the Northerns, but there's other factors involved of why you would keep one over the other. So it's tough. It's a tough decision.
Let's assume the entire race is over of beating who to what. None are left, and now it's just purely about enjoying keeping and breeding them. What does that scrub group look like?
Oh boy, probably Northerns and Bolani and maybe Halmas. Probably Halmas. Clastolepis, I like Clastolepis a lot, but not like a lot of other people do.
Yeah.
Southern scrubs, maybe I'm jaded. They've always been relatively available and when somebody says scrub python, the snake that pops into my head is a barneck.
Me too.
So I definitely like barnecks are amazing. But again, you're doing a lot of barnecks. Other people are doing a lot of barnecks.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, do I keep? I probably won't keep barnecks. It's I don't have enough room to have a ton of scrubs for the long run. So it's a hard decision.
Other pythons.
Huh?
Get rid of some of these other bum ass pythons.
Yeah, no, I would listen if it was different times. I still got a few retics to do, so I need big area for those. And so you got to make tough choices. But I can get Barnecks later.
Yeah, that's true. All right, well then, if you need to get rid of Barnecks to be able to breed stupid retics, as soon as you're done with the retics, you better replace them with some Barnecks again.
Well, I'm not getting rid of Barnecks to breed retics. I'm getting rid of Barnecks to try to breed other scrub pythons. So.
All right. You got an answer for everything, don't you?
Yeah, well, like I said, I have a certain amount of space for for a scrub python sized snake, and I have to divvy that up, in whichever makes sense.
True.
And once I've bred certain things, the only way I can get other things and try to breed those is I can't keep all the previous things. So some hard choices will have to be made.
That is true. That's definitely true. Yeah, that's part of why I don't aspire to your goals, because, man, if I was like, all right, I got to get rid of some scrub pythons to get like some Antaresia or like some short-tail pythons, I'd be like, what the fuck am I doing?
Well, I'm not doing that. Like I said, I'm getting rid of scrub pythons to get other scrub pythons. So that would be the reason.
Okay. It's easier to stomach that.
Yeah, like I had to part with my Southerns, so I had a place to put my Barnecks.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So.
Yep. I get it.
And then I've got some stuff that needs a cage that's in a tub, and I'd rather have it in a cage, and so I'll have to move some of that stuff along. Make room.
That's how it goes.
It is how it goes.
Well, cool, man. I mean, I appreciate you coming on tonight, chopping it up for a while.
It's always fun to chat.
We knew ahead of time we weren't going to do a marathon like some previous podcasts. But yeah, this is a lot of fun, and I'm excited to see what the future has to hold as far as those babies go, future trips that you guys are going to go on and all that stuff. So it's fun to kind of be on the sidelines for the ride.
Well, maybe one of these days you'll be in the seat next to me on the plane. So
hey, man. You might have to run that by your other travelers first, but
you just got to decide you're going to do it and make it happen.
Hey, that's why I said, some of you guys want to buy some scrubs to donate towards the Indo Fund. You have to put a specific note in the Zelle Indo Fund, and then I have to use it for that. So
yeah, there you go. Or what you do is you send me the money, and I'll hold the money in trust. I'll hold the money in trust for him. And I'll book his tickets and stuff so he can't.
Oh, man. All right. That might be a little more than I'm willing to commit to right now. Like, hey, I can't pay my mortgage this month, but Ryan has $4,000 for Indo.
There you go.
Fuck. Well, at least I can go to Indo when my house goes into foreclosure.
Yeah, well, you have a good time. You can get another house. You can't go to Indo every time.
I guess that's true.
No, you got to pay your bills, of course. But.
Oh, shit. Oh, man. Well, not that anyone who's watching or listening doesn't know, but if they don't, where are the best ways to find you, get a hold of you, find available animals?
Well, I'd post stuff on MORPHMARKET, but otherwise just contact me through Instagram or Facebook. I think I have 2 Facebook pages, Molecular Reptile and Ryan Young, and then Instagram. I think is both Ryan Young and Molecular Reptile. I don't know, but
I think it's just Molecular Reptile on Instagram.
Well, it should be pretty easy to find.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you once again, Ryan, for being here tonight on the episode. Definitely really enjoyed speaking to you as always.
No worries. Always a kick.
All righty. And thank you to everybody who was watching or listening to the episode. Shout out to everybody in the live chat tonight. And we will catch you all back here next week for a new episode.